Hopefully you didn't hear that. Hopefully you didn't hear that.
Duh.
I'm getting
Should
back
we
into the
start
groove.
over? I don't know. No, let's just keep going.
No,
Who
that's
cares?
too much effort. Okay. Hey everybody.
We've made
Thanks
enough
for being here.
cool sounds to
Yeah.
start off this podcast.
Yeah.
So, yes, thank you.
Sure.
Welcome to Muscle Science for Women. I'm Rachel. This
I'm
is
Ashleigh.
Ashleigh.
We're doing our best.
We're doing
I
our
think
best as always.
I think we just need to like just bust right into some questions because if not I
Bust
might
right in.
I might totally lose the thread.
Oh,
Um
yeah. Okay, let's go.
Here's just a really quick one off the bat because I did again these really quick questions that I get on Instagram that I kind of love when you almost don't get enough information because then you can take it wherever you want to take it as far as the answer goes. And one person messaged and said, "How do you know when it's time to bring back carbs?" To which I
Oh,
say, "Where
wow.
did your carbs go? You poor thing. Where were your carbs this whole time? Were they hiding from you?" I
That
think
is
that's
very
interesting.
general.
It is right, but it's also like very assuming that
Mhm.
someone should have not had any and then start getting them again. So I don't know. I don't know if
Yeah.
this person was just like strict keto or carnivore or
Mhm.
whatever. But what are
Interesting.
your very general responses to
What
that?
can you just say the question one more time?
How do you know when it's time to bring back carbs?
Mm.
Hmm.
Wow. This is so general. Um,
I mean, I have some
have
thoughts.
you, yeah.
Because
You can go. I have some thoughts. I'll piggyback off you.
yeah, I mean, for a while there, I think because again, people kind of do think of me as like a more carnivore adjacent person, and which truly before getting pregnant in 2021, I really was like carnivore-ish. Like I was pretty low carb. I wasn't like keto ketosis, but I really wasn't I wasn't very high carb. Like I was, on the lower end for sure. So I think a lot of clients were coming to me that were like carnivore keto people who
Mhm.
basically came to me and were like, I did carnivore keto and it was amazing until it wasn't. Now what? And like
Yeah.
softball, eat some carbs. If you haven't
Yeah.
eaten any for a long time and it worked until it stopped working, and now you're having some like weird hormonal stuff, you can't sleep, maybe your digestion's off, you're either plateauing with the fat loss or you're gaining again or something. um, if it stops, if whatever you're doing doesn't work, you got to do something different, right? So that's a very
Mhm.
common and easy answer. And also for most people, if you are very active, I mean, certainly if you're, I don't know, pregnant or trying to get pregnant or any of that kind of stuff, if you're training for any kind of like intense physical goal or a race or a something, you probably, most of us should not be zero or very low carb.
Mhm.
I really think carbs are just this fun tool that we get to have, that we get to manipulate based on our goals and our situation. So some of us may need
Yeah.
less, and for some periods, hardly any or none. Some of us may need a lot, but most of us probably don't need to be zero carb for any particularly long period of time. So if you're
Yeah.
asking the question, it's probably time to bring them back.
Yeah. I agree with all that. And I would say, just to add to that, um, start slow and focus on whole food carbs. That's going to
Yes.
be like the way to go. You know, that will cover kind of all of your bases in terms of starting to bring them back in. Is just start slow
Yeah.
and focus on anything that has grown from the earth at some point.
Mm-hmm.
For carbs, that would be fruit, all fruits. Obviously, you can start with like lower sugar fruits first, especially if you've been keto low carb. So the um, berries, cherries, kiwi has, there has more fiber than some other carbs. I wouldn't go like straight to eating 5 bananas a day, probably.
Especially if
Um,
you eat the skin like a weirdo, like somebody on this podcast, right? Don't you eat kiwi skin?
oh,
Isn't
for
that a
kiwi,
thing?
yeah, I thought you said
Yeah.
I eat the banana skin. I'm like, no,
I'm
I
sure
don't
people
do
do
that.
that too, but yeah.
Yeah. Kiwi skin, absolutely eat the kiwi skin. That's where the most fiber is.
Okay.
Looks weird, has a weird texture, but you'll get over it.
Okay.
Um, and then, starchy carbs. So like potatoes, sweet potatoes, all the different types of potatoes, and vegetables, of course, like fiber, right? So green vegetables, all the vegetables, those are going to be like your whole food carbs.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, start slow and focus on those. And usually over time, you can work your way back,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll start to feel some differences there. So,
Yeah, pay attention to how you feel. It might even be if you're like, if you've been super zero low carb or elimination diet for a while, it makes sense to like reintroduce things slowly and
Mm-hmm.
methodically, like pick something, eat it for a few days, see how it makes you feel, like that kind of thing. So yes, definitely echo
Yeah.
the slow and steady. How many carbs are in your average Ninja Creamy ice cream? Because I'm sure you know it.
Depends what you put in them.
Okay.
So I
No,
do
no
make some
mix-ins.
with no mix in. Like if I'm just making like my base recipe, which is just milk and protein powder, like which, we talk about active stacks.
Yeah.
They have minimal carbs in that. Sometimes I'll add like some banana slices in, which will add, better texture.
Mm,
That will add a little bit carbs. Sometimes I'll do like more berry based.
mm,
So like for example, I did make with the active stacks vanilla. Let's talk about active stacks for a second. Someone actually asked me this question. They're like, you guys talk about the chocolate active stacks on your podcast all the time, but what about the vanilla? And that's very true. I think we
it's
just both
true.
love the chocolate a lot. The vanilla is still really good. I made a berry vanilla Ninja Creamy a few weeks ago, and it was just, milk, vanilla, active stacks, the beef protein vanilla, and then some just like strawberries, right?
Mm.
And it made like a kind of strawberry vanilla ice cream type thing. It was really good. Um,
I've never
I
tried the
forgot what the question
banana.
was, but
I guess we were just talking about carbs, but I've never tried
oh,
adding
carbs, yes.
banana to my protein ice cream because I worry that like, banana I feel like is potentially one of those flavors that like it's just going to taste like banana now. Is that a thing?
Well, so actually I only use banana in the chocolate. So like
Mm.
I've made multiple times a creamy that has the chocolate protein powder, milk, and banana, and not too much, just like maybe half a small banana cut up. I think that it adds a really good texture. And it does have a slight banana flavor, but it's like
Not too
not
bad.
overpowering
Okay.
in my opinion.
All right.
So
Well, so sorry, Active Sex Vanilla. We don't hate you. We love you.
yeah.
And it actually has real vanilla in it, which is
Yeah, vanilla bean powder. Yeah.
extremely rare because that's a really high quality ingredient. So it is
Yeah.
very good. I'm just like, I'm a chocolate girl, so it is what it is.
Same.
But Active Sex Vanilla is very good. So what is our code is MSW10, right? Is
Yes.
the discount code for you, and we'll put the link in
Yep.
the show notes so you guys can get it. I mean, that is
Mhm.
like it's the best protein powder I can find in terms of
Mhm.
good ingredients. And I give Magnus protein shakes all the time. Like I'm getting this kid jacked up at age almost 3 because he loves a protein shake. And I just mix it with like
I love
whole
it.
milk. And I'm always jealous because when he has like a glass of whole milk with chocolate active stacks, I'm like I would feel, and I know this is terrible to say with all my education, but like I feel guilty about drinking a ton of whole milk, not because I can't digest it, because I can, but I'm just like, man, like
Yeah.
that's a lot of fat and calories. But I'm just like,
Yeah.
this kid can give her, like he's fine. He's
Yeah.
growing like twice his size every year. So I'm like jealous of that kid. But anyway, toddler approved too. So
Yes,
cool.
absolutely.
All right.
Sweet. Thanks,
We've
Active
got
Stacks.
thanks,
Do
active
we have
stacks. Hmm?
want to talk about our other sponsor as well? Just while we're
Sure,
at
we
it?
can talk about Paleo Valley also being an awesome, wonderful sponsor.
Yes.
And I have been, I mean, I need to probably re up on some of my stuff, but I've basically been I still have bars because I asked them to send me like every
Hmm.
flavor. So I still have bars. I've been taking them on our beach adventures because it's finally beach weather here. And
Yeah.
we're doing that as often as possible. My favorite, by the way, these are superfood bars. They're not super super high protein. Like they're okay, but they're mostly just
Yeah.
like whole food bars because honestly, we've had this conversation. I'm like a protein bar person. Like I like protein bars. I think you're like a lot of them are gross and they taste like fake
Hmm.
ingredients because they are. But I find that like the highest protein to like calorie, like the best ratio, tend to be the most processed chemically
Yeah.
protein bars on the planet. Whereas if you go like a little less protein, but like actual good ingredients, that's kind of another option for people.
Hmm.
And that's what these bars are. Like they have like full pumpkin seeds in them, and they've got like fermented greens powder and stuff. Like they're really like
Hmm.
a healthy whole food bar that also has protein in them.
Yeah.
So they're also a really good option for like toddlers and kids and stuff too, because you don't want to be giving I don't want to be giving Magnus like the mega grenade burst protein
Yeah.
bar. Like they're just kind of,
And you can just pair them with a protein shake or the beef
yes.
sticks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Or
So
the
anyway,
they have turkey and chicken sticks too. Sure.
yeah, yeah. If
You don't
you for
like beef?
some reason don't want to be crushing beef, but I do. I like all of them. So
Same.
yeah, Paleo Valley is
Sweet.
awesome. They have a 15% discount, and it's
Yes.
just a direct link that we'll put in the show notes. It's paleovalley.com/muscle science. So stock up on
Yep.
snacks. It's a smart idea. All
Yeah.
right. Okay.
We got some more questions.
We do have some
One or
questions.
two. Yeah.
Hold on, not this one. Got some questions in the inbox, and I wanted to get to one specifically. Okay, here we go. Meredith. We try to get to like the older ones first because you guys have been patient with us. Okay. So Meredith is saying, I've been looking for good sources of information on women's fitness and came across your podcast, which I've been loving. Thank you. I think my partner is tired of hearing Ashleigh and Rachel say, oh, I love that.
Yeah, that I saw that. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
That makes me happy.
Yes. Okay. So yeah. So she's saying, I'm a very active person. I exercise 5 to 6 days a week, but my workouts are directionless and I just keep gaining weight. I know what Rachel's going to say to this one. Since listening to your podcast, I decided to put real effort into tracking food and increasing protein intake. In about a month, I lost 9 pounds after years of trying to lose weight with no result. For reference, I'm 41 years old, 5'4", 150 pounds. Thank you for putting me on the path. Okay. Her question today is, I'm a nurse and I work nights on a busy unit with high acuity patients. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but I think it sounds stressful.
Yeah.
I love the team I work with and I feel fulfilled by my work, but I'm constantly worrying about what the schedule is doing to my long-term health. Night shift is known to disrupt circadian rhythm and metabolism, as well as just promote poor eating habits. She's saying I either eat nothing because there's no time or I snack too much out of exhaustion. I also feel like I'm constantly sacrificing sleep to have time to work out. I usually get about 5 hours between shifts. I know you two live in the daylight, but would like to know if you have any advice for us night shifters on maintaining health while working a schedule like this. Great question, Meredith, and thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we already gave her the discount if she wants to join Muscle Science for Women because we offer a first responder, medical, military, everything discount. If you want it, reach out to us, send us an email, reach out to us wherever you can find us, and we'll happily give you that discount and welcome you into the program.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit top of mind. I work, some of my one-on-one clients are shift workers, so I've been helping some of them through this for a while. I think the first thing to realize, like, everybody is going to respond differently to different things, just like anything else. Some things are going to work well for someone, not for another person. There really is kind of like a test and assess situation that has to happen. I would say just a few top things right off the bat are, when it comes to like your schedule, trying to keep things on a schedule is like the number one thing when it comes to like food. So she mentioned there's sometimes where, she doesn't eat at all, and then sometimes where she's snacking all the time. That in itself is just the first step. It's like, okay, you're setting yourself up for failure here because you're not putting yourself in you're not controlling some of the factors that you could control. And then that's going to cause you to feel out of control, which will then cause other things to feel harder and more stressful. And it's just kind of like a domino effect there. So the first thing I always recommend is like, okay, can we, from like a nutrition standpoint, can we at least get you eating solid meals throughout your shift, right? Let's plan out this 24-hour schedule. Let's see, like, okay, when do you plan to sleep? When do you plan to eat? How can we, curate that to what makes sense for you, but putting it into a schedule that you can follow and that you now have a sense of control. And I know for some people it's going to be harder than others, especially if you are, working in certain, like, depending on where you're working, maybe you don't even have time to like get away to eat a meal, but like, do you have the option to maybe have 5 minutes to eat half a meal, right? This is something that I've been working with one client. She, one thing is like, she feels like when she's in her night shift, she can't eat a lot at once. Like, it's hard for her to eat like a full meal that she normally does. So what we did is we split that meal into two. and kind of space it out like within 3 hours. So instead of having to sit down and eat this full meal and then feel like digestion's off and all of that, it's like, okay, let's just split the meal in half so that you're still having you're still having a full meal. We're splitting it up, but you're not now like snacking all night or just like picking random things at once. So we know that you're hitting your goals from a nutrition standpoint, but we're just doing it in a little bit more of a strategic way to fit your schedule and also how your digestion is kind of working at this period of time. So that's one thing to think about. And of course, having a coach to help guide you through this can be helpful. We've talked about that before. And then my other just kind of piece of advice from like the sleeping perspective is there's so many things that you can do to set yourself up for success going into like your sleep cycle, especially if like you are supposed to sleep when the sun is now coming up, right? You're going to sleep and the sun's coming up. Obviously, that's going to affect your circadian rhythm. There are a lot of different tools and things that we know now that we can incorporate as you're getting ready to go to sleep. I'll just name a few quick ones.
Yeah.
For example, if you're getting off your shift and the sun is starting to come up and you're driving home to now go to sleep, putting on, even like an hour before the sun comes up, putting on some type of blue light blocking glasses to end your shift so that you can start to create that melatonin production and reduce that exposure to light. That's going to be a huge piece of it, right? So whether it's getting some blue light blocking glasses or right when you end your shift, putting your sunglasses on and not taking them off until you're in your bed, and hopefully your bed environment is a dark room, blackout curtains, cold, you have a noise machine that blocks things out, you have earplugs, all that jazz. But that's the first step. And then also, like for one other cool tip is like, again, setting yourself up for success by, if you're in your car driving home, can you like put your air conditioning really high so it's really cold? Like get your body temperature down a little bit. That's going to help to balance out, kind of getting you into that sleeping state, right? Like lowering the body temperature, bumping up that AC, covering your skin, right? So putting on a sweatshirt, putting on something where your arms are not exposed to the light that's coming up. That will help to again create that melatonin production to help you then fall asleep a little bit easier. So there's so many different like little tips and tools that you can incorporate if you are a shift worker, and it's just being proactive about them and kind of, continuing to level up. Right. So yeah, I'm rambling, but those are a few little tips.
Maybe a cool shower, because maybe if she wants to shower, like a cooler shower versus a hot one, which sounds awful to me. I hate a cold shower more than anything. But if you do get home and find you have a hard time, like turning off and getting, to bed, that might really help. The other thing too, that you may not want to hear, but if you're working out 5-6 days a week, maybe you titrate that back a little bit and get some sleep instead. Maybe even 2 to 3 days a week, because that exercise is important, and it probably is a source of, taking care of yourself, and it's probably fun for, like, you probably like it, so you don't want to like get rid of it because it's important. But do you need to be doing it 5 to 6 days a week in the context of the stressful job that you have and the schedule that you have? So, and I think the answer because of how you wrote that out to us. You're like, I'm kind of sacrificing sleep to get some workouts in. So sacrifice less sleep and get fewer workouts in, and then just really optimize those workouts you're doing. Make sure that that hour or whatever 3 days a week that you're doing it, you're really doing the best program, getting the most out of a short period of time that you can, which of course our program that I think she said she's going to do will help. It'll help her with that.
And also the timing of when she does it.
Yeah.
So like, I wouldn't recommend, like, I know some people when they get off shift, they'll go do their workout and then they'll go to sleep. Probably not the best idea. Like if you think about it from a practical perspective, like if I went to go work out at 9 p.m. and then try to go to sleep after, like my adrenaline's up, like, things are going to be in a place where you don't want them when your body is trying to settle down to go to sleep. So probably shifting that, like if that is something, I'm not saying that she's doing that, but if anybody else is and listening to this, like probably not a good idea, even though it might be super convenient. Like, oh, I'm off work, sun's coming up, I'm gonna go get my, workout in with the early morning crew and then go to sleep. Probably not the best idea. So thinking about that too, I think that's a big one.
Yeah, I have a lot of empathy and a lot of respect for people who do this because, of course, the the number one thing is like, it would be healthier if you just didn't do it. And it's like, but somebody's got to work a night shift. And thank goodness there are people who
Yes.
are available to do this. So it's
Yeah.
important. It's an important job. And if you're able to do it and you like to do it, that's amazing. And we're grateful. But you are, at a human sort of physiological kind of disadvantage because we aren't meant to live that way. Thank goodness that you can do it for us. But like, the summary is like just doubling down on the things you do have control over, trying to be as consistent as possible, and also prioritizing the things that really need to be prioritized. And probably in your case, it is sleep before workouts. So, don't get rid of them entirely,
Yeah.
maybe, but like figure out how to make sleep a higher priority than the workouts, I guess. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I got another quick one that is more, again, Ashleigh question than Rachel one, but not necessarily. I'm sure you have clients that this applies to, but someone sent me a message on Instagram and said she is newly pregnant and she's an intermediate lifter. And again, very generic question, thoughts about workouts.
Oh
And I'm
no.
sure you have worked with pregnant clients or postpartum clients or people who want to get pregnant. But I do have lots of thoughts about that.
Did you record a whole podcast on
I'm
this?
sure I did, and I'm sure
I
I'll
think
go
you
back
did.
and like I will
We'll link
I'll
it.
link to
Yeah.
that. The thing is too, like a lot of I think one of the cool things is our podcast is getting in front of new people, which is amazing because I'm getting like a lot of messages of people being like, I just found your podcast and
Yeah.
I'm binging it. It's amazing, but it means they probably haven't, gone through the whole catalog and like seen that we've talked about some of this stuff before. So definitely if you're new to the podcast, welcome. Thanks for being here. Please rate and review and subscribe.
Yes.
But also maybe just check back through some of the catalog because the chances are we've talked about something before, but we will also talk about it again. So I'll put any pregnancy related links in the show notes. But thoughts about working out while pregnant. I mean, the biggest, again, most generic response is like, do what feels good, but really listen. And if something doesn't feel good anymore, don't do it. Like, um, this is the time of all time in your life to be incredibly intuitive and like listen to your body. And it's also going to tell you things much more clearly than maybe it has in the past. At least that's been my experience. It will really tell you when something doesn't feel good anymore, when you need to eat more carbs, when you need to like lay on the couch and just breathe heavily. It will tell you all those things. So if you're an intermediate lifter and you have experience already, just keep doing what you're doing. And if it starts to not feel good, start maybe slowing some things down, even if certain movements don't feel good. Like I love talking about how, my favorite thing in the world to do is pull-ups. And at around like 16, 18 weeks, like when I just started kind of like stuff started happening, like you could sort of see I was started showing when I did a pull-up, my abs were doing weird pulling, weird stuff that did not feel good anymore. And I was sad, but I was like, I don't want to do this. It doesn't feel good in my core anymore. So I'm not going to. And so I stopped. And then I picked it up as soon as I could afterwards. And here I am doing pull ups again. So don't feel like it's some big, sad thing. I can't do this. But just pay attention, make adjustments. Your body's going to start getting like more mobile and flexible for the big show that happens at the end. So you want to pay attention to some of the movements and stuff that you're doing for that. And probably eventually you will be doing less intense, less volume, less work because you are literally doing an insane job internally and you won't have as much energy for external stuff. But I think, like we've talked about a million times, it's like, let's just try to be consistent. If you're a lifter, if you like to work out, if you like to be active, continue to do that to the best of your ability the whole time. Don't let anybody tell you you can't, but don't let anybody tell you that you have to be doing CrossFit workouts until 9 months either, especially if it doesn't feel good. Do what feels good to your body, keep your body active, and that will really help postpartum because again, if you just kind of keep it moving, just keep going, even if it's just walking, even if it's just yoga, like keep your body moving, your body's going to remember and it's going to want to afterwards too. So if you want specifics, we can, talk to us and we can talk about that. But generally, like, don't get too caught up in all the pregnancy accounts online that are gonna show like jacked women doing some crazy stuff at like 9 months pregnant, because that's not necessarily realistic. But follow what your body's telling you and keep moving. What do you think?
I think you said it all.
Yeah.
I
You
agree.
said it all. You said
And
it
then
all.
check out, don't you have like an ebook
I do. That's
that's,
more
yeah,
nutrition.
nutrition,
Thanks for the
which
shout
is
out.
also important, but
Yes, it is very important. And I do kind of debunk some myths and stuff with that too. Like maybe I've thought about doing something like that. And then I'm like, I'm not the pre and postpartum fitness expert. I'm not. I had a
Mhm.
baby and I did a
Yeah.
ton of research and I do have, experience in this
You know more than
area.
a lot of other people though,
I
so.
do, I do, but I just feel like, I don't want to be one of those people. And maybe this is like a sign that I still have some humility left in the days of social media, but like, I don't want to be like, I had one baby, I'm an expert. Everybody listen to
Yeah.
everything I have to say. I felt more strongly about the nutrition side of things because it is, again, more like the organ meats and the nutrient density that I feel so strongly about
Mhm.
teaching everyone. And I just wanted to kind of write something for pregnant women. But the fitness stuff, I don't think it necessarily has to get. There are people who specialize in this stuff, and that's great. I don't even think it necessarily has to be that. I think you could take our program and it would be perfect because there's
Yeah.
so much customization, and then you have both of us to talk to and
100%.
work through it. Like, you could totally take our program and that would benefit you. But it doesn't have to be so hyper specific because you're a pregnant woman, as long as you are respecting and honoring what your body is telling you to do and what it's telling you not to do. And knowing that you're not damaged or injured or there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with you. You're just pregnant and you got to kind of just make some adjustments. And then you'll get back to it when that baby comes out. So that's it.
Agreed.
All right. You got anything else for me?
Awesome. Nope, I think
This was
that's it.
short and sweet, just like
Yes.
us. You're taller a little bit by like an inch or something. I don't know.
I don't
I have
know.
height dysmorphia. We've talked about this. I have no sense of how tall I am. I think I'm the same height as everybody.
I love that.
I know it's fun.
Oh, all right. Well,
Okay.
until next time.
Until next time, don't be insane.
And don't do stupid shit. You were supposed to finish my sentence there.
Sorry.
Well,
Next
we'll try again
time.
we'll try again next time.
All right.
All
See ya.
right. Bye.
Bye.